Hello, this is Patrick from XPression. I'd like to show you a new feature in XPression Maps 3.0 and higher, the ability to change fonts or road labels on your maps using OpenStreetMaps. I'm in a map here and I've got a famous intersection in Chicago, State and Lake. And what I'm seeing here is the font label for East Lake Street. And it's not the font that I would want to use. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to double click on it so that I select its properties. And you can see that opens up in the style editor. It highlights that selection, which is name major. I'm going to come over to the properties tool and I'm going to click on the properties of that, and it's going to give me the parameter settings. And what you can see here is the font that it's currently using is something called Noto Sans Bold. And if I choose, I have Noto Sans Bold in here, I have Metropolis, I have a couple of other simple typefaces that we give away with XPression Maps. May not be what you want. Let's say I want to use a Gothic typeface. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this panel. I'm going to close my current map. I'm going to go to my Windows file system. And I have a folder here that has fonts for a font of typeface called Gotham. So you can see I've got a couple choices here. And over in the other window, this is on my hard drive. And yes, I have a lot of versions of XPression Maps because I do a lot of testing. But I'm going to go to XPression Maps 3.0 folder and open it. And once I open that, I'm going to find another folder that says OSM Styles and double click to open that. And what you'll see here is I've got all the different pieces, mostly JavaScript and things like that, that make up the font structure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on a folder in here called Fonts. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the root of this and I'm going to grab that folder labeled Gotham font. I'm going to drag a copy of it into the OSM fonts folder. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and relaunch XPression Maps and see what happens. So I'm back in XPression Maps and you can see I've got my map up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on Name Major and I'm going to click on the Parameters tab for that property. And what you can see here, if I look now and I choose in that font drop down, I had Noto San is what was chosen, and I had Metropolis and one or two other fonts, but if I scroll up now you can see that I have Gotham. So now when I select this, you'll see that the labels for Gotham Black and the street labels are changing. So right now if I change this as a black, it's pretty much the same. I'm going to change it to a light just to make sure that it's obvious to us, and you can see now it's a light typeface. I'll change it again just so we have something different here. I'll change it to bold. Now, this is how you change the properties or parameters of fonts for when you're changing and defining your user style for all of your map structures. Use this same workflow to change other font labels for roads inside of your OSM style editor. Now remember, that's in OpenStreetMaps. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a quick search, and I'm going to do a search for USA. Straightforward, nice zoomed out map here. And what I want you to notice, I'm going to change this style over from an OSM to a regular Bing. So I'm going to change it over here to a Bing Arial. And what you'll notice, that doesn't have anything on it other than the state label, or the country label I should say. If I tell it I'm searching for the United States, and I come down here in the search related shapes and I double click on United States, what you'll see now is I have a map up here that has a highlight over the United States. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change to the shape tool over in the shape editor. I'm going to select United States and I'm going to come down to the properties. So under country default, I'm going to do something that isn't normally here. I'm going to change my styles because I'm just illustrating something. I'm going to go to edit. And I'm going to come down below here where it says shapes and borders, and I have a spot here for names. I'm going to turn names on, and I'm also going to change the color here because something funny is going on. I'm going to change it to black. And what I want you to notice once I do this, you'll see on my map I have all the state names in a different font, and I'm going to close out these properties because I want you to see where I'm going to do this. I just happen to know what that style is. I'm going to come over to my drawing tools, and that is a drawing tool for text called Country Gotham. I'm going to right click on it, and this is not an OpenStreetMaps, so this is just regular XPression Maps. I'm going to click Edit Drawing on that particular text item, and you'll see the box comes up here, and I'm going to go to Label. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to a different typeface that's in here. So let's say I'm going to change it to Helvetica New Extended. You can see it happens. You can see the example down here, and I click Done. And what I want you to know is once I do that, you can see all the labels on my map change, and there they go. But if I want to change that even further and I want to use a different typeface, I'm going to go to Edit Drawing. And when the Properties dialog comes back up, I'm going to go back over to Label. And you saw we had the pull down for the font, but right next to it I have a little button that indicates that I'm going to go browse my file system. And I see the fonts that I currently have available in my system, but I want something a little different. So I'm going to click Add, and this lets me browse my local file system and look for a particular font. I'm going to click the Browse button here. So I've got a whole bunch of fonts in here. I'm going to take a Castellan Pro Italic 6. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click Open. And again, this is just a font that I have on my file system. I happen to be taking out of my Windows directory. And once I put that in, you'll see that's what it looks like. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click Done. And you'll see that will now change. And that's how I work with fonts inside of my system that are not part of the OpenStreetMaps editor. So I've shown you two different ways to change fonts. More importantly, in OpenStreetMaps I can change the street labels, but for the regular shape tools that I put here, states, countries, whatever, this is how I change it using the drawing toolbox.